Hi, guys. I hope everyone's doing well today. My name is Silvia, and I'm an independent legal consultant working from the UK in London specifically. And yeah, I'm super happy to be here speaking to you all. Today, my aim is to kind of shed a bit more light into an area of law which is not as traditional as what most people think a career going into law looks like. I think when people say I'm studying law, I'm looking to practice law, they automatically think of a qualified solicitor or a barrister, but as someone who works independently, I'm here to kind of help shed a bit more light to a different route going into law for someone who's a bit more business minded, like to manage their own time, is more entrepreneurial. So if those adjectives kind of connotate who you are as a person, then this route going into law might be something that appeals to you more than the traditional law going into becoming a qualified lawyer. So I want to kind of explain briefly what a legal consultant is and what a day in the life of a legal consultant like myself entails of. So here on the screen, you'll see some of the roles, the things that I do for my clients. So providing general legal advice, general legal management, helping them draft, review legal documents, legal contracts, helping them with negotiations with their own clients, legal project, legal operations. So it's a whole bunch of things regarding legal management and legal admin, which varies depending on the needs of a client. So one day a client could come to me with a legal issue, asking me for advice, asking me for help. Another day, a client might come to me and say, hey, I'm going into business with this one of my clients. Can you help me draft a partnership agreement, or can you review this legal document for me, make sure that all the terms and conditions are correct? So it's just a whole bunch of legal stuff, legal admin, legal management, and legal strategies. The only thing that I cannot do as an independent legal consultant is represent clients, which is because I chose not to become a qualified solicitor. So I'm going to be telling you exactly why I chose not to do that. And before doing that, I think it will be good to kind of explain what steps are necessary for anyone who wants to go into law, whether it be working as a legal consultant or as a qualified solicitor or barrister. And just to be clear, the journey is different regarding whether you want to become a barrister or a solicitor. I'm going to assume most of you know the difference, but just in case anyone here doesn't know what the difference is between being a solicitor and a barrister, I put the explanation on the screen for you. So just to put it briefly, a solicitor is essentially a legal consultant, except they have qualification to represent the client during any court orders, any court or legal proceedings, whereas the barrister is the person who sits in the actual court speaking to the judge and advocating for the clients. The solicitor is more backstage, whereas the barrister is the person who sits in the court for them. Now, the first step towards becoming a lawyer in the UK, that is to obtain a law qualifying degree. I did a joint honours in law with criminology, and this lasts for 3 years. It can be longer if you're doing it part time or if you're an international student. I'm not sure, but usually it's 3 years. Now, there's also the option to do a GDL, which is in the case where anyone does a non law related undergraduate degree and then changes their mind. So after 3 years, you might have been doing business or management or history. You then decide, actually, I want to go into law. You do have the option to take this course, which is 1 year, which kind of helps you transfer into pursuing a career in law. So that's the first step towards becoming a lawyer, to get a law undergraduate degree. The next step varies depending on whether you want to be a solicitor or a barrister. I opted to becoming a solicitor at the time, so I did a legal practice course. So the next step is a 1 year course for either becoming a barrister or a solicitor, and it has a range of different courses and practice areas within law, which essentially prepare you for when you do choose to become a solicitor or a barrister. And like I said, they both last 1 year each. So far you have 3 years undergraduate degree, and then 1 year of a vocational course. So that's 4 years so far into education, which are the necessary step towards becoming a qualified lawyer here in the UK, that is. After you've done your legal practice course or your barrister course, a solicitor would have to take a training contract, which is 2 years, which is essentially working with a law firm for 2 years, preparing yourself for the time you actually become qualified. For a barrister, you take a pupillage, which isn't 2 years, is 1 year, but it's the same thing. It's essentially an in-person apprenticeship, preparing you, doing mock trials, and essentially making sure that you're ready for when you do become qualified. Now, this is where I stopped my journey towards becoming a qualified solicitor. So I stopped at my legal practice course, which was the step before this one. And I chose not to do a training contract because at that point, because of COVID, my legal practice course, which was supposed to be for 1 year, lasted for 2 years. And after 3 years undergraduate, another 2 years legal practice course, that was already 5 years I had put into education in law. And at that point, I was kind of exhausted and I wanted to just start working. So working in the law firm wasn't appealing to me. I think I have a very entrepreneurial mindset, especially doing a legal practice course, which I did with business and management. I kind of wanted to go more into business and into management. So I decided to work independently just so that I could manage my own time, not put another extra 2 years doing a training contract with a law firm, just to then decide that maybe I don't want to really do this. So um yeah, instead of just going to, for anyone who does want to become qualified, so after you've done your legal practice course, you do your training contract, and then you become admitted. Like I said, I stopped at my legal practice course and I chose to just start working independently. So I was lucky enough to have a good network of professionals around me who needed legal admin, who needed a legal professional to help manage their contracts, their legal projects. So after completing my legal practice course, I started working with my own clients. So it required a lot of networking, a lot of building my online portfolio, reaching out to people, saying, "Hi, I've just completed my legal practice course. I'm a legal consultant. Do you need any advice? Anyone to manage your legal contracts?" So, like I said, it requires a lot of networking. It requires a lot of confidence. So, if you're someone who doesn't want to be stuck on your seat at a law firm, doesn't want to have to do a 9 to 5, wants to kind of merge business and law, I would say working independently is a good way to kind of practice that, going out there, pitching projects, pitching businesses. So yeah, that's why I chose not to become a qualified lawyer, because I enjoy managing my own time. I enjoy working by myself. I enjoy being in charge of my own schedule. And most of all, it helps me challenge myself. I kind of touched up briefly on the pros of working independently, but there are some cons which I want to tell you all about, which are just the reality of working by yourself, and not just in law, but working independently in any career. So, for starters, is a lot of isolation. You're working independently, so therefore you don't have a team to help drive you, to help push you, to help lean on for advice. So if you're stuck, you have to figure it out by yourself, which can be hard at times, because it's good to have a mentor, it's good to have a manager to go for advice, to go to for help. So yeah, it's if you're very self-driven and you're very good at being by yourself and pushing yourself without having a team around you, then I would say this wouldn't necessarily be a con. But if you're someone who likes to work in a team, who requires support from others and likes to push others and works better being a team member, then working independently might not be the route for you. Another one of the cons is the unpredictability of working independently, which kind of links to inconsistency and no fixed income. Like I said, you're the one pitching yourself, you're the one finding businesses, you're the one that's going out there and networking. So you don't have like a fixed schedule, a Monday to Friday, a 9 to 5, a fixed income on payday. You're essentially hustling every single day, trying to find business, establishing those connections, establishing that network. So you're in charge of your own income, you're in charge of your own challenges, you're in charge of everything, which can be inconsistent. So 1 week you might have clients back to back to back to back, business and deals and contracts and legal projects. And then another week it might be quiet, which can be scary for someone who likes consistency, who likes structure, which is why I said working independently has to have a very entrepreneurial mindset. If you're someone who likes structure, who likes payday, who likes having a 9 to 5, going into the office, then this would not be something that I would say suit you. However, there are some pros, which I mentioned briefly earlier on, which are the flexibility. So you get to choose your own schedule. I can choose what days not to work on. I can choose on a random Tuesday if I want to fly out to Amsterdam or wherever. I don't have to check in with a manager. I don't have to book in holidays. So yeah, you have flexibility. So it's a lot of good work-life balance. I get to set my own schedule. I get to move around my clients if I need to. I decide how long a project is going to take based on my own availability and my calendar. Autonomy is essentially you're just in charge of what you do. You're in charge of your work. You're in charge of what clients you want to work with. You're in charge of what challenges you want to take on. You're in charge of everything because you kind of set your own services. You decide what services you want to offer. So if there's something that you're not good at, if it's something that you're not confident in, you can just say, I don't offer that service. So yeah, you get to manage your own time, you get to manage your own schedule, you get to manage everything that you offer regarding your services. Also, diverse projects. Because you're in charge of everything that you do, including what you offer, you kind of get to say yes or no to what you want. You're the one kind of pushing yourself and challenging yourself and working in whatever areas or field of law you choose to. So me, for example, I have clients in different fields of law. I have a client in real estate, I have a client in fashion, and if I want to, I can pick a client in construction. I get to work on as many projects as I feel comfortable working in. So there's no manager to tell me, Sylvia, I don't think you're ready to do that yet. I kind of get to push myself and challenge myself and work on myself so that I have that flexibility and I have that choice to work within what areas or field that I feel comfortable in. Which brings me to the next part, which is new challenges. Like I said, because I choose what I kind of choose and work on what I'm confident in, I get to say yes to what I want to say yes to, and then I get to push myself. I decide where my comfortability line is drawn. I decide what areas I want to push myself in, and there's no pressure from a manager to fit any deadlines, to do any work. No one tracking my process, my progress other than my own self. So yeah, also another thing is networking opportunity, which is why I said you have to be very network driven. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to push yourself, to push your boundaries and meet new people and go on different projects and go on different working events, working nights. So it offers a lot of networking opportunities because you kind of get used to networking, you get used to speaking to people, you get used to pitching yourself, pitching for projects, pushing yourself and trying to gain new business, which I believe has helped me kind of come out of my shell and also land a lot of opportunities that if I was to work within a business, I would not have been able to attain. So yeah, also the work-life balance, which I've already mentioned. You pick your own schedule, you pick your own time, you pick your own services. Essentially, you're in charge of everything that you do. I could have woken up today and said, I'm not working today, and I could have just done it on the weekend. There's no 9 to 5, there's no Teams meeting, there's no one tracking your progress, there's no one saying, Hi, Sylvia, why are we not signed in? I'm in charge of what I want to do. If I need a mental health rest week, I can wake up and say, I'm not working for a week. I wouldn't advise it for my clients, but, I have that autonomy over my work and over my life. So, yeah, that's what I'd say is good about that.